All right, now, so we move into another matter. Well, an attempt by the federal government to resuscitate the National Theatre alongside some other activities in different states. Well, take a look at this report just to tell you a little bit more before we delve into it.
The National Theatre sits idly in the heart of Lagos, the architectural masterpiece, a national pride and custodian of the Nigerian cultural heritage, has lost its old glory. Plans to revive the old iconic building has hit the rocks in the past. With privatization on the table, the decision to let go of such monument did not sit well with some stakeholders, so the relic continued to bear its mark of wear and tear with very low revenue generation capacity. But today, history is being made with political leaders, regulators, and key players in the private sector collaborating to see the restoration of the edifice and its 134 hectares of adjoining land assets.
Mr. President has clearly demonstrated that he recognizes that a renovated National Art Theatre and the complementary facilities that will be created along with it will help in unleashing the creative talents of Nigeria's youths across multiple sectors and in supporting his objective of creating new employment opportunities for Nigerians.
Okay, so at least some perspective on that matter. Well, this morning we've got Atuyota Akpobome, who is the chairman, Federal Creative Industry Committee. Well, in case you're wondering who I'm talking about, you know him as Ali Baba. He joins us this morning. Good morning and thank you for joining us. I've been wondering, okay, what's happening here? I want to see you.
with the names, right?
Yes, they're just, I could have confused a lot of people on that one. But good to see you and good to have you on this morning. Well, this plan by the federal government, it's about time. Creative industry, of course, it has huge capacity in terms of revenue generation for the country and materials that it can export to the world in terms of repairing Nigeria's image. Now, you chair this committee that is doing something. Give us a background. What's going on with your committee? What's happening?
All right, so the first thing that the minister said was that there was need to first aggregate the value proposition in the industry. There was need to understand what needs to be done. There's so many people who are in the sector that are not covered, and most times when something needs to be done, they are excluded from the scheme of things. I'll just draw an attention to something before I hinge on it again. Recently, the National Sustainability Roadmap was made for the country, and it included a lot of other ministers and excluded the Minister for Information and Culture, forgetting that the creative sector is the second largest employer of labor, after agric. So what it means is that the bulk of your youth, about 88% of the youth are involved in the creative sector. It could be in advertising, it could be in architecture, it could be in movie production, it could be in computer designs and all of that. So all of that has been ignored. And this just highlights it again, that maintenance and development of the creative sector is not in the forefront of the plans of the government of the day. And so Lai Mohammed, the Honorable Minister, has seen that there's need for this to be done. And so he told us to look into the sector and advise the government on what to do. And we did that exactly, and which was what the committee was set up for.
So this initial 25 billion, so we understand in about 18 months, this center will be completed. How do they plan to replicate the same thing in some other states? I think they talked about Kano, Port Harcourt, and some other states.
Okay. So the first thing is that this is not just about renovation of the National Theatre alone. It's about creating jobs. It's about adding economic value. It's about saving a natural heritage, a place like this. It's just like, you see, most times we forget that when you set up a place like this, it's not just about the culture anymore. It becomes a hub for development of a lot of things, ideas, cultural exchange, economic empowerment, because people will be working there, people will get jobs, there'll be a lot of things that will be developed. So I expect that this should also be replicated, not build a national theater again about this size, but just maintain this. And so the plan is the 25 billion would go into restoring this to its point of glory, but also developing the fallow land that's around it. Don't forget that. And I'd like this to sink in. You know that the National Theatre was built on a swamp. And after that, all the land around it, most of the places you see that is green is actually interlocking. It was parking, except for the water area. So this is going to be something for social development. And across the country, this will then be the trigger point that then drives all the changes across the country. So the federal government's plan is to make sure that this one triggers the response that they've been craving, because a lot of economic backbones do not want to support the creative sector because they don't see the value proposition in it. And so this is just to kickstart that. And it's good that the CBN is also driving other banks to achieve it. But I believe that in the next 4 or 5 years, this project will begin to yield fruits. In fact, nearly in the first year, it will begin to yield fruits.
Okay, we'll come back to this when we return from this break and get your concluding thoughts about what to expect moving forward. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. Our concluding moments. Now, let me bring you back a little bit on this one. Yes, it's a PPP, two-phase project. First part is the center itself. Then the second part where the private sector will be involved in developing the fallow lands. And then they say it's going to create jobs. I think they say about 2,000 jobs. So, but in terms of this industry, now, assuming in 18, or they say maximum 22 months, they will bring Mr. President to walk him around, show him this has been completed. In terms of treating that industry as a proper business, now, what is that structure there at the moment when this is over and done with? Can we then say, look, their facilities, the financial structure, so that young people, that industry can thrive on its own? Is that there, or how far away are we from getting there?
Well, the thing is that the industry is there, the structure is there. It just needs to be activated. When you talk about the National Theatre in the first place, you know that in about, I think in the last 5 years, cinemas have been springing up everywhere. But do you know the National Theatre actually has more screens than the ones that were started with in this country? The National Theatre has a radio station and a television station, which was all abandoned. The National Theatre is a home for music, home for visual art, home for drama, home for history, photography, culture, publishing, writers, tourism, architecture, movies. That is what the National Theatre is for. Fashion, events, concerts, and in all of these, there's so much, even culinary art. In all of this, it is that our attention has just been moved to the low-hanging fruit, which is crude oil. You sell it, get money, and spend it. So we have not really invested in it. If you look at it, a direct comparison would be like something like the Eiffel Towers. The Eiffel Tower in Paris feeds the whole of Paris, because the people that come to see the Eiffel Tower will stay in a hotel. They will buy food in a restaurant. They will go to a bar. They will do shopping. They will go to the Eiffel Tower. They'll take pictures. So photography, taxi, all of these then get driven by just the Eiffel Towers. So what we're saying is the creative sector, the creative industry has a lot of potentials, but we just need it to be ignited. We need people to move it forward, but we need people who will come in and invest. All the investors in Nigeria don't look at that area at all. So when you even talk about, which is why I mentioned even the federal government itself, when it came to creating a sustainability roadmap immediately after COVID, did not involve the Minister for Information and Culture. What I'm trying to say is that The potentials are there. There are a lot that we can do. The jobs can be created. The economic value is limitless. Above all, it is that the potentials that we have in the sector will employ youth, will make us great, will draw people to Nigeria and create economic progress.
All right,
we
then.
know that that is what will happen. And in the end, a lot more youths will be employed. Don't forget that I mentioned that it is the second largest employer. This will just add to the number.
Well, we'll be looking forward to that, such that, a lot of other jobs and young people, the entertainment industry, more revenue. They say about 20 billion. That's the capacity that this can attract to the country. Thank you for talking to us. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
All right, so there you go. That is the program today. We thank you all for watching, and we're hoping that you have yourselves a very good Friday. Circumstances notwithstanding. I'm Chamberlain also. Yeah, my boy's supposed to be somewhere there. My boy disappeared on us now. Okay.
Well, I'm here now, finally. Just catching the closing moments.
All right, then. So we'll see you all next week then.